Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. When I read articles like this, Ripple-backed Bitso reveals exponential growth of crypto-powered remittances, I can't help but think about the importance of utility when it comes to adoption of any cryptocurrency. Because I'll tell you what, long-term speculation of a cryptocurrency, even one that's been here for over 10 years, Bitcoin, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will have eternal staying power if at some point the world doesn't actually adopt it to be used for something. And so, in going through this, it's amazing to look at. I'm looking forward to sharing the specifics, but Bitso, that's the Mexican-based cryptocurrency exchange, which is partnered with Ripple, utilizing on-demand liquidity and thus XRP as a bridge currency. You know, they've only been around since, I want to say off the top of my head, 2014. And I remember a comment from Ashish Burla. He's an SVP at Ripple, one of the original Ripple employees, been with them a long, long time. And he was talking about how in the early days, he went to go visit the headquarters of the Bitso exchange, and it was in, there were like 3 guys running it when he showed up, and it was in somebody's mother's basement. I mean, and he was talking about, and it's as funny as that sounds, they're absolutely massive now. And Ashish was talking about how the reason that they connected with Bitso is just because it was so amazing how this exchange was able to move money around the world faster and substantially cheaper than the largest banks on the planet. You know, and moving actual value via their exchange. And so it got their attention and then ended up developing a relationship, and here we are. And now you've got MoneyGram, and so here's another article we're going to cover in this. Take a look at this, both new articles from today. Also from Daily Hodl. Ripple's biggest on-demand liquidity partner reports record-breaking transaction growth. You know they're talking about MoneyGram there. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of real-world adoption of cryptocurrency, specifically XRP being used as a bridge currency, well, you definitely come to the right spot. So go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It does a body good. Ask your doctor. He'll confirm. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll down here. While crypto skeptics brand digital currencies as solutions in search of a problem, Mexico's first Bitcoin exchange is seeing exponential growth of crypto-powered remittances. Bitso estimates that it is processing, check this out, 2.5% of the transactions flowing from the United States to Mexico, one of the largest remittance corridors in the world. Now, to me, that's insanely impressive. So if any of you listened to the 2.5% number, you thought, oh, that's not very much. Okay, well, I disagree. I think that it's substantial, considering that, again, Bitso has only been around since, I believe the year was 2014. I'm pretty sure. If not, it was right around there. And consider that they're that young, and this is obviously an important corridor, sure, but don't forget also that as far as the adoption of XRP as a bridge currency in this corridor, this is growing organically, all right? And so you can only buy and sell, given that there's enough, there has to be sufficient blend of price and liquidity, right? And so there's a reason that the current percentage of transactions that MoneyGram is putting through Bitso, it's only about 15%, and they can only ramp it up so much. I think they can ramp it up a little bit more than they have. But the point that I want to make is that that's what's going through because you need more liquidity. It's not that there's not a desire from some to do it. Like MoneyGram, they could put presumably a lot more through, but it just needs to grow organically. And it's also true, though, that there's not sufficient liquidity in corridors the world over to have, just at the snap of a finger, flip of a switch, Nostra Vostra accounts literally just no longer be required. So just give it time. Anyway, Bitso is a key player powering Ripple's on-demand liquidity and processes Ripple's XRP-based remittances between the two countries. Ripple invested in Bitso back in October and says the exchange is processing MoneyGram's flows into Mexico, which have reached 10% of the money transfer giant's transaction volume from the U.S. to Mexico. The current number, by the way, is 15%, and I've been mentioning that somewhat. It's come up a few times in recent videos over the last several days, week, whatever. And I think the last time I cited that it was Brad Garlinghouse, and then I think that he said it in an interview, but I could be mistaken. I was trying to think further today, and I didn't try searching for the answer. It probably could have taken a while, but it might have been Alex Holmes, MoneyGram CEO, that cited that the most current figure is 15%, but the 15% figure is accurate, so this particular crypto media outlet just didn't see that. But yeah, it's definitely 15% was the last last percentage that was cited. Anyway, in 2018, Mexico received over $35 billion in remittances as migrant workers sent money home to loved ones. Emilio Rivero Coelho, a senior strategy analyst at Bitso, says that cryptocurrency is having a dramatic effect on the average cost of a $300 remittance by settling transactions more efficiently and quickly and reducing fees from 2.83% up to as much as 5.62%. And here's a quote from Coelho now. For Mexico specifically, it is estimated that digital remittances could save recipients approximately 15 days over the course of their lives, nearly 100 million hours in aggregate for the economy, and almost $450 million in economic value based on the average income of a Mexican citizen. I also want to cite, so that the percentage savings, 2.83% to 5.62%, I think that as there's increased competition, you're going to see the savings increase dramatically. And I've been theorizing from the get-go that many in these remittance markets that begin utilizing XRP as a bridge currency, I think that there's going to be a lot of padding of pockets of the businesses themselves, the banks and remittance companies. Why wouldn't you pad your margins if you don't have sufficient competition telling you that you have to lower your price to be more competitive? But that's why, and I'm not begrudging that if that ends up being the case. Like, it's fine. Markets will figure this out, and then eventually it will drive costs down as more competition comes in. I just don't see that as a problem. Arturo Herrera, Mexico's deputy finance minister, says he's focused on digital methods for moving money, and here's a quote from him now. In the future, it will no longer be necessary to have a bank in the sense of a traditional established bank. Mobile phones will become this. Yeah, that's kind of the vision of Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Yeah, we'll see about that. As the country's central bank experiments with a new digital platform called Cobro Digital, which allows users to buy and sell goods and services free of charge, Bitso is powering crypto transactions with cheap fees, creating a new market for remittances for the estimated 42 million Mexicans without a bank. So very cool stuff there. Let me go ahead and hop into the next piece now, which I got from XRP Crypto Wolf. Thank you very much for sending this my way. And the story is Ripple's biggest on-demand liquidity partner reports record-breaking transaction growth. And of course, you know what we're talking about. It is MoneyGram. Roughly half a year after initially launching a partnership with Ripple, MoneyGram announced record holiday transaction numbers. The company logged significant transaction growth on MoneyGram-branded online platforms across the first 25 days of last month, according to a press release. And here's a quote now from that release. Between December 1st and December 25th, MoneyGram-branded online platforms reported transaction growth of more than 70% on a year-over-year basis, with 80% of online transactions initiated on a mobile device. Outside of the United States, online transactions during the holiday period increased nearly 120% on a year-over-year basis. That's kind of staggering, right? Globally, over the company's major online markets achieved double-digit transaction growth during the holiday period. And of course, so it's not just that they're MoneyGram's now utilizing XRP in the real world. It's not some theory out there. It is actually out in the wild getting used. It's not just that they're doing that. There's other things which I've cited. I'm not going to get into it on this particular video, but MoneyGram is doing a number of things to kind of revamp the company, right? Because they realize that there's a lot of disruptive forces out there that requires change if MoneyGram indeed is to have staying power for the long haul. And I think this is an indication that a number of the things they're doing kind of coming together. And then the article continues, MoneyGram partnered with Ripple and began using its XRP-powered payment solution, on-demand liquidity, this past summer. In return, Ripple committed a $50 million equity investment in the money transfer company. Said Alex Holmes, MoneyGram's chairman and CEO, in November, quote, "Our partnership with Ripple is transformative for both the traditional money transfer and digital asset industry. For the first time ever, we're settling currencies in seconds. This initial success encourages us to expedite expanding our use of on-demand liquidity. Partnerships with companies like Ripple support innovation and allow us to invest in creating better customer experiences. I anticipate furthering our growth into new corridors and exploring new products and services. And so that's why I always go back to, hey, it's just a matter of time, and nobody's going to be more patient holding XRP than your boy Moon Lambo here. I'll let everybody else emotionally buy and sell, not have a clue what's going on. I mean, many people have a clue what's going on, especially if you're listening to this channel. There's a good chance that you've become pretty well versed on what's going on with Ripple and XRP, or even if you're earlier on the journey. There's always new people entering the world of crypto and learning about XRP. So maybe you're newer, but the point is, in that case, you're trying to learn from all sorts of different sources, no doubt. That's responsible due diligence. I like it. But that's it for this one. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo!